Hello, welcome to the Baltimore IGDA. This is going to be episode number 8. I have brought you Greg Lane. Greg Lane is somebody who I actually met back with Big Huge Games probably about like a decade ago. Like it's
Close
a
to it.
yeah, it's been a while since the Domination days. And my brother he actually worked with you as well with quality assurance back with Big Huge Games. But how are you doing, man?
Good. I'm doing great. Yeah, I sat down to think about how long
Hmm.
I've been in Maryland now, and it's been close to a decade, and that's so
Yeah,
bizarre.
yeah.
Because it seems to me that was like a pivotal moment when I like
Mm.
moved here to like set things up. So, love it. I like it here.
Yeah,
People are great.
yeah, awesome. Can you kind of like talk about like generally kind of like how you got started and what you do?
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't plan to get in the games industry. I started out when I was in college. I thought I was going to be a musician and be in the
Mm.
music industry. I interned with a
Um,
record label. I was touring in a ska band, and so that was clearly financially lucrative. Me and 9 dudes crammed in a van.
yeah, it's still fun though,
So,
right?
oh yeah, no, it was loads of
Yeah,
fun.
it's loads of fun.
Uh, so yeah, so when I started to look around to be like, okay, what can I do that's a career that's both um, enriching and fulfilling and possibly could
Mm.
have health insurance down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
I found the games industry certainly like encapsulates all of that like creativity
Mm.
uh, and and collaboration as well, because
Hmm.
that's one thing I really liked about music was just playing with other musicians and collaborating, and then like, oh, you do this part and then that makes me think of this other thing, and then we'll riff off of that,
Mm.
and then it'll expand the game or the song or whatever from there. um, so yeah, so I got started accidentally, and because I just had cobbled together a resume. When I was in college, I was doing essentially like paper prototyping
Mm.
for pen and paper role playing games.
Nice.
Yeah, so I worked on like the Serenity and the Battlestar Galactica role playing games.
Ooh.
Because I looked at it from like the writing aspect of it. I was like, this all these games are written in a book, and like my I was studying writing at the time, and I was like, this could possibly be a career is to like write game books. Like somebody's got to do this.
Mm.
So I did that mostly for fun and also for a little experience. I didn't think about fully making it a career. It would be aspirational, would be nice. But that was just one thing. And then the following summer after college, I got a 3 month contract to write a game script, which
Mm.
I now know is a game design document.
Ah, yes,
And
yes,
so like I
yes.
didn't even know that terminology when I was getting into things. And then after as I was touring, I'm gonna date myself. I'm gonna date myself several times. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had all
yeah.
these like WiiWare points for the Nintendo Wii. You got like virtual points,
Mm.
like buy Wii games. And so I had all these WiiWare points, and I was like, that I got for like birthday or Christmas or whatever. And I was like, oh, if I'm gonna be a writer, I should start like reviewing these things. I'm gonna play like weird games that I've never heard of before, and I'll write a
Mm.
little like synopsis. I'll teach myself to like do journalism or critique or whatever that might look like.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so I spent a couple months like doing these like reviews of B-side or smaller games and
Mm.
stuff like that. And then yeah, and then I put that into like a little resume. And I then put on a suit and tie
Hmm.
and drove around in person to every studio in Maryland and handed a paper resume
Mm.
and
Ah, yeah.
was told that's not how you do things.
Yeah, yeah,
But
things changed over time, right?
a little bit, yeah, yeah, because your parents are well-meaning and they give you good
Mm.
advice.
Mm.
But I mean, we're in a digital industry, so it
Mm.
makes sense that they would be like the leader in like, no,
Mm.
fill out things online, we'll do things that way. However, driving to all those studios, doing all my homework, the due
Mm.
diligence to like figure out where things are, helped me years down the line when I
Mm.
was talking to people because I already knew the players, I already knew the
Yeah.
industry, I already
Yep.
knew the scene. So like, uh, th- in a lot of ways, that legwork really helped out later on.
Mm. So
Um,
you were able to like go in and kind of stumble into games, but at the same time, you did a lot of that homework and then also learned about games in the meantime, being able to write and design and break down how games kind of worked, and then also was doing the networking side of things, being able to go to different studios and find out like what they're working on, what their process is, and really study them, right?
oh, absolutely, yeah, and it was. Maryland was one of the places that actually was doing that pretty intently too.
Mm-hmm.
Although I lived in at the time was living in New Jersey, and
Oh,
actually
okay.
got my first studio job in New York City.
Mm,
Um, so I worked for a small studio called Fun Tank.
mm-hmm.
They ran the web portal candystand.com.
Mm.
When a long time ago, when people were in high school, and we played video games on the web,
Mm.
and we'd play like I don't know, like mini
Farm
doll, like
Farmville.
right. Oh,
Insane.
even before that,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, no,
oh, oh,
yeah.
before that,
Uh,
like,
before that, yeah. Yeah, on like Coffee Break Arcade or Congregate or
mm,
whatever, like a whole bunch
mhm.
of other sites and stuff like that.
Not
So
like
yeah,
not
so
like Newgrounds old, but like a little further than
yes, yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. So somewhere in that like sweet spot, right
Yeah,
before
yeah.
Flash died, but still where it was
Yes,
like sort of still relevant and
yes,
stuff like
yes,
that.
yes.
Um, so yeah, so I got hired to do some like licensing for our site.
Mm,
So I wound up like working with tiny studios or independent developers, licensing their games, testing them in house at our studio on Canal Street. And then I would write the copy, and then somebody else would do like the art, and then we'd put it up and put a feature on the website, and like people could play our games and stuff. Um, and that was rad, especially because New York at that time didn't have like professional studios.
mm,
I mean, like Rockstar was there, but
hmm.
it was more of like their that was more like their marketing department and
Yeah,
video people and
yeah.
stuff. Um, but as far as like people like actually doing like development, like coding and stuff, it was mostly just these Flash game studios and
Mm,
stuff. New York City came from a different aspect. It
hmm,
started in like in advertisement, so it was
hmm,
advertisement, digital advertisement, and then advert games, and then that's sort of how we got into that whole like that's how New York got into that whole scene.
hmm.
Whereas here in Baltimore, it was all spun out of like
Developers.
tabletop.
Yeah.
It was all that
Hmm,
tabletop stuff that went into micropros, and then they've
hmm.
made the same things but digital, and then micropros spun out all the studios and stuff. So yeah,
Yep.
um, fascinating to watch these like little microcosms of the industry, like it's like spawn out and develop from there. Um, so the other thing that was in New York was like NYU and playcrafting
Mm,
and all these other like meetups and events.
hmm.
And so I went to all of them. I went to every event that I
Nice,
could,
nice.
everything that was vaguely game related, just to like soak it all up to figure out what I didn't know.
Hmm,
And so to some extent, I felt like I've always been chasing like what I didn't know in the industry to like sort
hmm.
of just. I felt like I came late to the game as well.
Well,
Um,
that's also a huge rabbit hole because, like in game development, there's so many different roles and disciplines that if you're trying to do it all right, like it's like a solo dev trying to like learn like so many different hats, right? But it's still good to be able to still know more about those other departments, even if you're not specialized in them. You still have that invaluable experience being able to actually interact and talk the same language as like a musician versus a artist versus a programmer, right?
Right. Oh, exactly. And then you know how to structure your requests as
Mm,
well. You
hmm,
don't say like, "Hey, can you make this character change hats or whatever?" You
hmm,
know, you would say like, "Hey, what does it look like to model the XYZ thing?" Like you can
hmm,
ask and set expectations,
hmm.
and not just dump extra work on people
Yeah,
because you don't like
yeah,
the way one thing works.
yeah.
Um,
So, like you've been getting into a little bit of your own games, right? So Tin Heart, right?
yeah.
Like that's your own games, right? Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So when I was in New York and working this thing, we did this. We did a flash game for Facebook.
Hmm.
We did this like cooking thing, and about that time we got bought out by Publishers Clearinghouse, like the
Yeah,
big
I've
check
heard of
people,
them.
like
Yeah,
come
yeah.
to your door with $1 million a week.
Mm,
Ed McMahon did not work for them, but everybody thinks he did, so doesn't matter. So yeah, so we got into. I started making like casino games and lottery games and slot
mm,
games and stuff like that. And while that is a steady career course in
hmm,
games, I didn't feel like that was right for me.
hmm,
So when I was in New York, I was sitting there and like uh, thinking about ways to expand and like ways to like do it more organically or do things that I wanted to do. And so, yeah, so I started with the idea of Tin Heart Interactive just as a nights and weekends, like a hobby
mm,
thing.
hmm,
And the first thing I actually started to do was sound
mm,
packages
hmm.
for um, for the Unity Asset Store.
Nice, nice.
I did a game jam as an audio guy. Um,
Oh, okay, okay.
so because like I view I view game jams as like a chance to learn those other disciplines or like
Mm.
practice other things. And I figured if I wanted to do music before I got into video games, I should try just to see what it's like to do music or audio
Mm.
specifically for video games.
Mhm.
Um, so I did this game jam as a sound designer, and at the end of the weekend, I had all these sound effects, and I was like, now what? Do I just shelve them? Do I just do nothing with them? So then instead, I was like, cool, I'm gonna package these up and put these for free on the
Mm.
Unity Asset Store, and sort of like give back because I didn't, it was free for the jam, so it might as well be free for other people.
Mm.
Um, and so that was the first thing that Tin Heart put out, and then slowly got into video games. Did my first Ludum Dare after that,
Mm.
and then just continued like the game jam rabbit hole and
Mm.
and building games.
Yeah, I did a Ludum Dare actually this year. Oh, sorry. Yeah, last year I did one with Rick Williams, and it was a 40 person game jam. Oh, like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Our team was 40 people. Like Rick actually like pre-planned like all of the production to be able to hit stuff, and he wanted
Yeah.
to pull me in because I had the most like AAA experience, and
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, like I can wrangle all the artists together and be lead on that. But then we were missing some stuff, so I was like, oh, I need to learn like how to do like effects in Unity like
Yeah.
right now. so, so that was a very fun experience. But that's actually Child of Ruin, which is on itch. So definitely
Oh,
check it
cool.
out.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pretty impressive like RPG like game, which like had like a boss and like everything. We went all out on that one.
No, no, I absolutely, yeah, no, I absolutely want to try that now. That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
way more ambitious than I'd ever be for,
Well,
for a jam.
it is 40 people, and Rick is pretty ambitious. So
Yes, yes. No, I'm sure the two of you did
yeah.
a great thing.
So can we get into a little bit of big huge games? Like, was that like your like first like experience in like mobile slash like more of a AAA kind of like environment? Or
Yes, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So that was my pivot down to move to Maryland. So
Okay.
I'd
Okay.
been working on Tin Heart for a little while, and then I felt like between the couple of years of this junior game designer role that I had, plus independent development, showing that I was trying to go like above and beyond and learn more
Mm,
things. I then applied to Big Huge as a QA tester
hmm.
because I knew that I was well qualified to do the job. And pro tip: if you're going to apply to be a QA tester and you find a bug while playing their game, include that in your cover letter
Yeah.
because you're like it shows you're playing the game.
Mm,
It shows that you like are aware of how like the mechanics work. And it helps show that you know how to like write repro steps or write a bug or like write
hmm.
what you expected outcomes and then like actual outcomes and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
so I think that's what helped get me in the door
Mm.
is that I'd already been playing Dominations and I was already like I wrote a bug in my cover letter, um, and so yeah, so I did that for about 7 or 8 months. I was a QA tester,
Mhm.
um, and since I had my degree in writing and could slam a sentence halfway together, I convinced them that I should do some community management and outreach and talk to people.
Awesome.
And yeah, I was really glad that I had the QA experience before I did community management
Mm-hmm.
because while I was a player of the game, that taught me some of it. But really being able to like test it and know it in and out, and listen to those like feature meetings and stuff like that, understanding what went into the game helped me convey that to the audience, convey that to the players a lot better and a lot more clearly. So I'm so glad the pacing and the way that all worked out. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
so
and
yeah,
being able to get like your start, and you have such a diverse kind of skill set of many different things that like as a community manager, like that helped to like dabble in like many different things, as well as like your background doing indie games, like that just helped like be able to bridge the gap between a lot of things between like developers and players.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And and even going back to further, like the
Mm.
game teardown, essentially the teardowns of what I was doing with those
Hmm.
Wii games. I didn't even know what a teardown was at that point either.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, being able to dissect the way that the mechanics work and then re-explain that to an audience
Mm.
in a way that they need to hear it was a really important skill to have as well.
Yeah, like
Because you don't think about them as skills. You're just like, oh, this is
yeah,
how the game works. Just explain it. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like, it's the same thing. Because like my brother, like he is a savant at breaking down games and then recontextualizing them for new players. So like with our mom, like she loves Wingspan, right? And we actually had a presentation actually with Elizabeth Hargrave, who is the creator of Wingspan, and he's able to like contextualize how to break down the mechanics of a game and teach it to new players, and that's one thing that QA is definitely good at. But it's being able to repro steps of those bugs for things that I need to get him on my podcast one day. I'll get
Yes.
him eventually. So
Yes. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can reach him.
yes.
Um, so yeah, that was a total blast. Oh, other thing I was thinking
Hmm.
about when you're like applying for jobs and stuff like that. When I did my interview at Big Huge, I had my own graph paper because I was talking about a
Oh
mechanic, and so I was sitting there like explaining the mechanic, and I was actually able to like bring up a piece of graph paper and be like, look, this you do this and this and this, and then draw out the
yeah. Hmm.
the game or the idea and mechanic, and I was told that that was mildly intimidating to be
What?
like that to be that on the ball about design or about
Okay.
explanation to be like wow is this sort of too much for what you're trying to do but
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't necessarily think so because
Yeah.
we do strategy games a lot here.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and and there's so many people who really dive into mechanics and really like strategy as a genre. So like
Yes.
with the games around here, like obviously it's in the DNA of a lot of the games here, but like being prepared for your interview, like you might as well like over prepare. So
Yes. Yes.
I
Oh,
get that.
absolutely. Yeah.
So let's see here. Looking at my notes. So like we had talked a little bit. Like, did you go to a GDC this year?
I did. I
Yeah,
talked this year at GDC.
nice, nice. How was that?
And so great. It was my second time, so I'm going to tie this back to Big Huge
Yeah, yeah.
because in 2019, I also got to do a talk at the Community Manager Summit.
Oh,
Like that was a big career goal of
mm,
mine was to talk at GDC.
yeah.
I'd
Congrats.
never been before. I'd only been to the GDC online. There used to be an
Mm,
offshoot that was in Austin, Texas, and that was for like web gaming and stuff like that. And man, A, Austin is a cool city. B, offshoot GDC events are like specific and focused were such a neat idea.
mm,
I strongly encourage people to bring that back. And again, Austin was a neat city, so
mm,
great time. Just as like my first GDC experience,
mm,
and then in 2019, yeah, I got to do a talk as a community manager talk, and it was mostly about like I didn't know what I was doing getting into community management, and here are some skills that I had
mm.
that sort of helped me like bridge that gap and get into this role. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, so that was really cool. And then this year I came back to do a talk at the narrative summit. Sorry,
Mm,
I did a community manager summit for the first time, and then I did game narrative summit this time. I talked about the game #Blood
mm,
that we shipped last year, specifically about the game's about a teenage
mm,
girl. She fights vampires,
mm.
but she's also on her phone all the time. And
Okay.
so we had a whole fake social media system, and we
Oh.
built that social media system to handle all of our missions.
Mm,
So when you got a new mission in the game, you essentially got a text from a friend or a
mm,
mentor or an enemy even, and then it gave you a little bit of like what the goal was, and then as characters like replied in the thread on the social media
mm,
site, that's how you like updated your progress and your steps and stuff like that.
mm.
So I did my talk about like writing a fake social media system in games that people actually will read. Because
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah, no shade on anybody else, but other games have had like fake Twitters and stuff like that. But they often get pushed to the side, or like it's if you're gonna write those words, somebody should read them, especially if you're gonna pay to translate them. You
Yeah,
should
that
probably
too.
put it
That too.
prominently in your game. Yeah.
Yeah, that and being able to have it where it's quick and easy to be able to get the UI interface for that, because like that can be a challenge to have like a notification system that you can quickly go into the mission from, and that that can be a really interesting topic to be get in, to get into. I'll like probably bring up a UI designer or an engineer actually like sometime later because I have a few people who I want to be able to reach out to, so I'll do that soon. So yeah, you did two GDC presentations, right? Like
Yes.
and one was recent, right?
Yes, was
Mm.
this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Was essentially 2 months ago. So yeah.
Nice.
Um, yeah, great. Yeah, I like I like going to GDC. It's it's tough to sell it though to some people because
Mm.
like if you're going on your own dime,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
better have a solid plan on what you're doing. You better have like serious meetings lined up
Mm.
and actionable goals while you're on the ground, um, because it is expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's worth debating whether or not you can go in person.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, like that was the same thing with a couple of our folks going to Star Wars Celebration for a bit reactor. Obviously, Greg Lane, or sorry, Greg Furch, sorry,
a lot of
was
Gregs. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's too many Gregs, too many Ryans. But yeah, like I'm going out to Japan. Like a few people from our studio actually went as well, which was a very cool experience being able to do that as well as announce a new game, right?
Yes.
So those were pretty great. So you also did a little bit of teaching at Anne Arundel Community College, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm just we're to, Friday. Friday is our last day, and
Mm,
everybody's doing their finals. We
hmm
don't have like a finals test.
mm.
We're gonna do it more like an arcade. Our
Nice.
class is broken up into teams of three, two or
Mm,
three, depending on what kind of project they're working on.
mhm,
And the goal is to it's a it's a 1,000 foot view of the industry as a whole.
mm,
So we go over like different roles in the industry. We go over like how to get your indie game funded or your small game funded. We do over
mhm,
like go over like larger budgets and like pitching and stuff like that.
mhm.
Um, but the goal for the major goal for the class is to build a prototype,
Nice.
with
Mhm.
a small team. So everybody's been diligently working, and we'll have an arcade on Friday, and everybody
Did
looking
you
forward to the games.
showcase like your students at the multi school at Micah?
I no, I got to attend, and I'm so sorry I didn't get
Yeah.
to talk to you in
No, no,
person
no.
that
Yeah,
day. 'Cause,
yeah. There's
um,
a lot of people there. Like I
yes,
understand.
yeah, no, it was really well attended. I need to think about how the course is restructured, so that
Mm.
way we've got prototypes that are in a better spot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's something that like we can definitely talk about for next year. Like I can help to be able to help with that, or get you in contact with other campuses and university programs to be able to help figure out ideas for that.
Yeah, yeah, because our course is currently structured where the first couple of weeks are all like slides and lecture
Mm,
style, where you're
okay,
like
okay.
doing a lot of like talking and listening, and then about halfway through the semester is when we actually start building, because
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to do some foundation stuff first and then
Hmm.
build the game.
That's true.
So even if we swapped it around, where we like or like interspersed it, so that we've got
Mm,
some lecture
yeah.
weeks and then some building, specifically building weeks and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But no, great event, well attended, really impressive. A former student of mine from Anne Arundel is now, I think, at U-Bolt,
Nice.
and I got to play his new game,
Excellent.
which was stellar. To like, he was somebody that I only met virtually, because the
Mm.
first 2 semesters I
Oh, during
taught
COVID.
just
Ah,
virtual,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so like I'm finally in the classroom now, which is a different experience,
Mm.
but also very neat. Um,
Yeah, I actually used to teach at Howard Community College, teaching
oh, cool.
intro to 3D and animation. So like I also have that background as well,
Yeah.
and it is a different experience in the classroom because like there's a little bit of trying to have your presentation, but also the learning styles of different students, right? And
Yeah.
something that's very like technical artistic and theoretical. Like there's different levels that you have to hit with a lot of different students. So it's challenging. I understand that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it's also really neat to see what they come up with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so and they surprise you in fun ways. And they're all good kids.
Hmm.
And they're all just like just want to some of them just want to listen to you like tell stories about the industry
That
because
too. That too.
it's look behind the curtain, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah. And
so
it's also it's challenging a little bit to be the right person for every student, right? Because like you may not necessarily have like all the right like expertise or like exact like niche thing that they are really into, but that's kind of why like for me like it's the networking aspect of, hey, like if you go to the local events, then you can probably meet somebody who actually does the thing that you want to do, right? And that's
Yeah.
a great way to be able to actually have an industry connection and learn from people who are doing it for real. So
Right. And people think get so hung up on the idea of networking. Oh, I've got to go to this event. I got to network.
mm.
Blah, blah, blah. But it's just talking to people. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
meeting
yeah.
everybody who else is there. Like,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Because like I was talking to UMBC students, my alma mater. They have this like conception that like oh like they wouldn't want to like talk to me, or like I'm nervous and stuff, and like I get that because like I used to like stutter and like have that intimidation factor, but like being a teacher, like I kind of like got rid of all that because like I'm just talking in general about what I'm passionate about, right? And like
Yeah.
everything else like goes away because like it's just people talking about nerdy things because like everybody is like a super nerd at something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like okay, like I can just talk about 3D stuff, or oh like I've been playing Expedition 33, right? And it's like oh we can gush about that. So it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. No, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so we got we're about like halfway through or so. What kind of things do you feel are challenging that you've had like the past like year or two? Like in general, like what kind of challenges have you had?
Oh, the
Yeah,
past year.
that's a tough
Okay.
question. Tough question, I know.
Uh, yeah. Given the state of gaming in where we are right now.
Yeah.
Um, so the first thing is it'll be nice that people are watching these things in the future
Mm,
because
hmm.
in theory the industry is going to be different or better or whatever in the future.
True, true.
Uh, so um, um, yeah, the last year has been interesting
Mm,
because in the last 12 months we shipped blood,
mm.
which and
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was huge. We had been working on it pre-pandemic,
Mm,
nights and weekends, and then when the pandemic started, we are like, oh, we'll be able to work on blood all the time.
hmm,
Except Chris and Bob did
hmm,
animations, and Cody and Andrew do coding,
hmm.
and then I was at Unity at the time,
Yeah, that's
and then
right. That's right.
yeah, everybody got so super busy that we had no nights and weekends time to do
Hmm.
anything. I also became a dad, like right at the start of
Yeah,
COVID,
yeah.
and so like
Another thing, another
yeah,
big life changing event.
yeah, yeah. So that was all the same month.
Oh wow.
So the my boys were born, and then I started at Unity. March,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. March of 2020. Boys were born. I started at Unity, and the pandemic shut everything down all in the same month.
That's
So
a big change. Like I had to do teaching and working at Oxide. I just gotten there like in the same time frame, so I kind of had to do like both.
yeah,
And then the pandemic happened like a little bit too. So it was like fully in office and then fully remote, and like having to like stop teaching and stuff like that. So it was definitely pretty challenging.
yeah.
So like it was
So
more
so
just
any
like the work life balance, or were there other challenges?
In the last year or
Yeah,
since the
yeah.
pandemic? Okay, and
In general.
yeah. So in the last year, yeah. So we shipped our
Hmm.
game, and then our publisher Humble
Mm.
immediately collapsed.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
they it was quite a surprise
Hmm.
to their whole team, and then
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
surprise to us. And so like that whole
Hmm.
post-launch
Hmm.
window and support was
Hmm.
kind of a scramble. Um, we got
Yeah.
a yeah we still produced
Hmm.
a couple of updates. We did like a mission critical update.
Hmm.
We did a quality of
Hmm.
life update, and then we did a 2-hour adventure that
Hmm.
shipped on Halloween.
Oh.
So
Oh.
blood itself is about vampire fighting,
Mm.
and then the update is about this werewolf like expedition. She goes out
Mm.
and the
Hmm.
werewolves are in town and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And they're mercenaries, so they're sort of like
Yeah.
called into town and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I definitely want to be able to actually like take a look at that.
There's one spot on that Sin Heart site where there's
Mm.
blood stuff, but anyhow, this is probably the better place to go,
Okay.
and that or the Blood Game website, or there you go. Anyhow, that's the
Yeah.
game. Uh,
Gotcha.
Gorgeously hand animated by Chris Burns and Bob
Mm.
Fox. They've been making cartoons for forever. They've had their own independent studio for like 12 years before they got into making video games. Um, they've always been like video game minded
Hmm.
while designing and drawing and stuff. But this is and they've done like trailers, like they did some of the cutscenes for like OKKO that for that video game and stuff.
Yes, I saw
Um,
those.
yeah, but this was the first one where they like did. Okay, yeah. So this was conceived as a
Hmm.
cartoon series actually, and they had a 1 minute short video and a
Hmm.
pitch deck and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
it never got really shopped around to anywhere. And Cody, who was one of our engineers who pulled the team together, was going through old pitch decks from Exit 73 Studios, and he picked this one out. And he's like, "Yeah, I could probably make a game out of this." And so, yeah, and so yeah,
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like any of the like Cartoon Network shows that are out, but like it still has that same kind of energy that it's just like literally like a cartoon like that is now turned into like a web game that could be on like Switch. So like this looks amazing.
yeah, yeah, and I feel tremendously lucky. I feel like I'm
Mm.
punching way above my league because people think the game's funny, and I was like, I don't know if I wrote it funny. I don't know if you just think it's a cartoon and you think it should be funny. I'm very critical of when people are like, "Oh, it's funny." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because like, did we trick
Mm.
you?
Mm.
Did we get you with the cartoon violence and stuff? So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't really discover really until it's in the player's hands, right?
Mm,
But like you still like try to like have that as a writer slash like knowing your audience, right? Like with having like again, it's like what like kids in like elementary, like maybe middle school, right?
yeah,
That like you kind of have like maybe either like jokes or just like relatable things like for your audience because this is all like different kinds of kids going through like, there's that texting stuff again with
yeah.
being able to have dialogue which like you had practiced before, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. But a lot of the jokes and like stuff like that
Mm.
are just references to the source material. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's like Hey Arnold references or like Rocco's Modern Life and like all that kind
Mm.
of stuff for the specifically for the audience that would
Mm-hmm.
recognize this as like cartoons.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and sometimes
yeah.
you get some stuff which is like older fans, right?
Mm,
Like stuff that would be like over the heads of like some like younger kids, but then like there's some tongue in cheek stuff, right? That
yeah.
older fans get. So.
Yeah. Somebody I forget who it was had a good piece of writing advice to be like if the scene still works and nobody knows it's a reference, then that's the right piece of dialogue.
That's true. That's true.
You don't want to have it stick out. You don't want to have it be a sore thumb. You need just to have it if somebody who has no context to be able to
Mm.
understand what's going on piece by piece.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
and sometimes that's like your slapstick humor or just the context for what the characters are doing in the scene, right?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So like we have blood, right?
Yeah.
Is there like other ones on here as well, or is it just blood?
So we're working on a new game. This
Okay.
team is working on a new game called Hank Shaw Private Eye. We showed it at Magfest. That might be the only way to see a trailer for it right now,
Mm.
actually.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, here.
Okay.
You might be able to access the trailer through here. Here's the. Um,
Let's try that.
yeah, this was something that we were doing sort of not sneaky, but we didn't really announce it anywhere.
Hmm.
We brought it to Magfest in January, and people were surprised. People were surprised we shipped a game in June, and then we're updating it through October, and they're like, "You guys have a new game and a whole new everything." And so yes, art
Mm.
style is wildly different. If hashtag blood was if that was Powerpuff Girls, essentially. This is Mr. Magoo or Pink Panther, like that kind of like
Mm.
earlier, like mid-century art and animation stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely
This
see
is
the film noir like kind of feel, but it's like pastel, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is going to be much more
Mm,
puzzle, narrative, and character driven
mm,
mystery drama
mhm.
thing.
Gotcha.
So
Excellent.
yeah, that was yeah a lot of the compliments that we got were on art and storytelling for Blood. And so like cool,
Hmm.
we're gonna certainly just lean into that
Hmm.
and be heavy into that. So
Yeah, play
um,
off your strengths as well as like don't like change up the formula too much because then you want to innovate a little bit, right? But you always want to also keep with your core audience because like with Sid Meier, right? He was saying the what is it the 30 30 30, right? Where it's
mm,
like 30 don't 30% like don't change the game, right? And then like 30% like change it like a little bit, and then
mm,
30% like change a lot. Like just
mm,
try something new, right?
yeah. And that's sort of what we're definitely keen in on here.
Mm.
We only showed it at Magfest so far,
Hmm.
and we were lucky enough to get the best art award, which was
Nice.
really nice. And then we took this with us to GDC when we went, because again, like I said, if you're going to GDC, make sure you've got a strike plan.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
went to the big indie pitch.
Hmm.
That's put together by Pocket Gamer. It's like a side event during the week of GDC. And we wound up winning that big pitch event and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
so
Congrats.
and thank you. Yeah, that came down with like that came down to basically like how good you are at selling yourself as a studio and the idea of your game, and then the look and feel of your pitch deck and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So
Uh,
is Hawkshaw like Hankshaw is that kind of the thing that you're kind of like most looking forward to for this next year? Like something that you're optimistic about?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super optimistic about this. We just got some of the music done
Yeah.
and music back, so it's something to like to listen to. We had some placeholder music in; it was fine. It was
Hmm.
jazzy, but to finally hear some new stuff that was composed, it was pretty exciting. Um, Chris has been cranking away like little puzzles and little ideas. And again, then back to that like collaborative, like I see what you're doing, and then we can add this other thing going
Mm.
back and forth.
Hmm.
But yeah, he put together this like sliding block puzzle.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, cool, can we do this as a way to like cheat if he's playing cards or whatever? So like, yeah, you're given like one suit, and then if you opt into solving this like sliding block puzzle, like he can cheat and produce a second card or whatever, to make that much more optional and stuff.
Hmm. Awesome.
Um,
Uh,
so that's Exit 73 Games. I am
mhm.
co-owner of that studio.
Okay.
Well, I guess technically Tin Heart Interactive LLC is co-owner of Exit 73 Games.
Hmm.
Exit 73 Studios is the art and animation team, and they also are
Gotcha.
co-owners of Exit 73 Games, as are Chris and pardon me, Cody and Andrew. So
Hmm.
like we are sort of a collective working on that studio, whereas Tin Heart Interactive is myself, and then any contractors I can hire,
Hmm.
or interns that I can take on, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of students with UMBC that are into that would probably like really like Blood and Hankshaw.
yes,
Like I'll like post it in their Discord, and maybe you might get some more wish lists.
oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome.
We gotta set up our page for Hank. We have not done that yet.
Yeah,
So
it'll get there.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's brand new this year. Like things are busy, right? Busy is
yeah,
good generally. So
yeah. Busy is good.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna switch back here. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, and then I'm gonna pull this back over. I'm gonna go full screen here. So we're gonna be kind of wrapping up here. I got about like 15 minutes or so.
Sure.
So I wanted to kind of ask, like, what kind of advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, it's okay to be a producer.
Yeah, yeah,
It's okay. It's
nothing wrong with
okay.
that.
It's legit. It's okay to be a producer. Um, I, Early on, I was concerned that
Hmm.
I was affected by some bad producers,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and so to me, it sort of was either a nothing role, and
Hmm.
it didn't touch enough, That was the other thing I was also afraid of. It was like it was one too many layers removed from doing the work.
Mm,
Um, there was yeah, fairly early on in my career, there was a breakdown of like talkers and doers, and
mm,
I wanted to be a doer. I
mm,
desperately wanted to like be touching things and moving things and like learning or interacting with the systems and stuff. And to me, there were some people fell into the producer camp, that fell into the talkers camp,
mm,
that didn't seem to be able to like do it.
mm,
Um, I have since met a lot of phenomenal producers, people that have really been able
mm,
to adjust the whole flow of not only the game but the studio. If you've
mm.
got the right production people,
Yeah.
then that guides the whole ship. It saves morale.
Yep.
Uh, when I was at Big Huge,
Hmm.
um, we did a whole huge big rebalancing of the game,
Hmm.
and emotionally, that was a lot to ask of the players,
Yeah.
and that was very difficult of me. And there was this producer, and I don't even know if Jen knew, but she was she used the phrase "tempest in a teapot" just to remind people of just like it's a big noise in a small container,
Mm.
and to not be worried about it. But then there was another time, and she just was just supportive, and she wasn't necessarily like a producer role, but she was
Hmm.
important and management level type stuff.
Yeah.
So like yeah, the right type of people can definitely be like tremendously supportive, and really guide the whole studio forward. So it is
Hmm.
okay if you want to produce support being a producer. That's piece of advice number one. So don't always look to the bad. I guess if you want to be more general, don't always look to like the bad actors in a thing. It definitely explore and like look at all options. That's number one.
Yeah, that
Um,
and people normally have good intentions when they're trying to build a team and ship a game. So it's not like
yes,
they're doing it out of malice. They're doing it like because they may not have seen something or may not have had all the information. So
yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly right. Um, yeah, and then the
Hmm.
other piece of advice, I guess. Uh, oh, don't don't be afraid to cast the spell. Don't be afraid to do the magic. Don't be afraid to do the magic. The meaning,
Yeah, what's that
uh,
mean?
if you see an opportunity, like dive at the opportunity.
Oh,
Don't be polite. Don't wait to be asked. Dive in and take the opportunity.
yeah,
Um,
that and just being able to understand the collaborative environment for stuff and noticing the opportunity and being willing to put yourself out there and explore it. It's not like you have to like commit to it, but it's good to be able to like, hey, like I want to know what this entails.
yes, yeah, exactly right. 100%.
Hmm.
Stay curious, be engaged, and yeah, really
Hmm.
throw yourself at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Those are two like pretty good things to be able to think about in terms of finding your way and also being willing to understand something from somebody else's perspective. So
Yes.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Don't let
So
somebody else's bad job spoil your opinion.
yeah. Um, so you have like a little bit of like background in like music and writing and game design. Like, what kind of like things would you advise for somebody who is like entry level, like trying to like be more well-rounded or learn a certain skill set,
No,
or
don't be well rounded. If you want to get a
no?
job, don't be well
Yeah.
rounded. No, you focus on one topic and you do that inside and out. You be the guy or the girl who does the
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that is so hyper focused on doing the thing that you feel like you're never going to get a job.
Mm.
Except when you go to apply, you're like, we need the hyper focused person on this one
Mm.
thing, because that's what a lot of studios hire for.
Yeah,
Um,
and it does depend on the size of the studio, because
yeah,
like that's one thing that I've found that the bigger the studio, the more specialized it is, right? But
yeah,
at the smaller studio, then you kind of have to do more things, but you also have to be good enough at all those things, right, to be actually
yes,
able to do the thing.
yes,
So that is a good thought process, and a thing that like a lot of students I feel they feel like they need to do everything themselves, and so they spread themselves too thin with
Yeah.
their schooling and being able to manifest the job, right? But you also have to kind of work backwards a little bit, because like my thought process is always to be like, hey, like what are my like top 5 games and like why, and then figure out, hey, like this is the studio that I'm kind of going for, and like I like
Mm,
work backwards for like, hey,
mm,
like this person has a job that I want. How did they get there?
yes.
Yeah.
That being said, I would not follow that advice if I were
No.
me and young again. No,
Hmm.
no, I'd still pursue everything all the time, with boundless tenacity and learn a little bit of all of it.
I mean,
Uh,
there is something to say about like being younger and having a lot of energy and ambition and being able
yeah,
to channel that into something creative. Like there is something that like you cannot stop somebody who has their mind set on something, which is
yeah,
like a excellent mindset to be able to have, because that's the tenacity that it takes to get in sometimes.
yeah, 100%. Yes,
Yes.
yeah. Or sometimes you just don't know, and you just throw yourself out there, and you're too silly or too dumb to realize you're doing something wrong, and
Yeah.
then it works out, and then it works
Yeah.
out.
That too. That too. Okay, I think we're about ready to wrap up. Is there anything that you want to talk about before we head out? Do you want to like showcase anything that you're working on the weekends, or like anything that you feel is like relevant?
I just wrapped. Atari just did a game jam, and I just wrapped on
Oh,
that,
okay.
and that was pretty fun.
Hmm.
Um, I did a game called Elite Beasts, and I think that's probably on the website. But that's one thing, and the other thing is on Blue Sky,
Hmm.
I'm doing a series called hashtag Bite Size Game Design, and so when I started in the industry, since I felt like I was so far behind, someone had given me the advice of play bad games and play free games, because like you're gonna learn so much more about all these like things that are like bad or broken or janky, than
Hmm.
you could like playing a well executed masterpiece.
Hmm.
And plus, the games that you build and when you first start out or when you're 15 years into your career are still bad and janky, and so like that's sort of like an equal playing field. And so that's sort of where I'm at. Anyhow, so I've been inventorying the games that I started playing. Some of them are good. Don't get me wrong. Like I have played like appropriate titles and AAA stuff and big releases or whatever. But I've also played janky and weird games. And for each one of them, I've been doing essentially like one tweet worth of information. It's one sentence of like what I learned and then a couple thoughts on like how to expand on that, and that's it. And so I've been doing this. I did the series first on Twitter, but that's not sometimes such a great site anymore.
Hmm.
And so I've been starting to repost that series on Blue Sky,
Hmm.
and it's called hashtag Bite Size Game Design.
Yeah, and that can be something that you can kind of have as like you can take that and turn that into like a like YouTube short or like TikTok or whichever platform for short
Yeah,
form content which you're kind of interested in, because like that can also like have like a visual to like your like idea within the tweet, right?
yeah, yeah.
And like that can also help to like have multiple ways to express that idea, like without going into like a huge long form like video, which like it depends on what people are interested in. So
That's a solid idea,
mm.
especially because those size videos perform tremendously well.
Yeah.
Even on YouTube, the
Yeah.
shorts perform very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about like what I could do for the Baltimore IGDA YouTube, but like these seem to be pretty successful, so I'm glad that I started it. So
Oh,
yeah,
great! There you go. Then they've been fun. They've been fun to watch. It's been
yeah,
fun to like listen to your interviews with other developers,
awesome.
and so yeah, I can't wait to keep up with the series and watch more of them.
Yeah, and if you know somebody who might be interested, like let me know. Like
Okay,
I'm more than willing to set aside some time for it and be able to continue bringing awesome content to our local community. So yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So I think that's pretty much it. So Greg, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything that you want to say before we go?
Uh, Game design is the renaissance art of our generation. It
Sure.
allows you to take art and music and code and everything and slam it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, I
That's it.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks,
We'll
man.
see you next time.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.